Yes, you read the thumbnail and the title correctly. By the age of 20, I had crossed just over £250,000 cash collected, which is just over $300,000. And as you can see, I'm not out in Dubai, I'm not driving around a Lambo or anything like that. Primarily because I don't think I'm anywhere near earning that yet, but also it's just not the kind of person I am. At this stage in my life, this point, I'm so incredibly addicted to progress and forward movement that it's just not what I'm interested in. But I'm also not at the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm not living in my bedroom at my parents' house, hoarding all my money. I have eaten some of the fruits of my labor. I moved out by the time I turned 18 into an apartment halfway across the country. I also bought my dream car at 19, and to understand how I got to the point of where I'm at now, I need to kind of take you back a few years to the 29th of November 2020 to be exact. And I'm going to kind of be narrating my life through Snapchat memories, as that's the only kind of proof I have of different stages that I was at within my journey. And I'm going to kind of just explain it to you in the most raw and authentic way that I possibly can. Now, this photo that you see here is the first bit of proof that I could find on my Snapchat memories that my life had some kind of incentive. I had some kind of direction and interest, and that proof comes in the form of a video of me flicking through a book that I'd annotated because I was sending this video over to my dad. And the significance about this video is because that book was the first book that I probably read in a decade, I would say. But it was a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And if you know, you know, but if you don't, Rich Dad Poor Dad is basically the level 1 finance book to understanding finance, entrepreneurship, and this kind of thing. And that book, give it credit where credit's due. I know obviously, Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that wrote it, has his, let's just say, controversies. But that book changed my life completely. I originally found the book on a TikTok video. It was top 5 books you should read if you want to be in control of your money. And I was just hooked straight away. I luckily found an old copy of that exact book, in some wardrobe. And I don't know, if I didn't find that copy of that book, I may not be where I am here today. But I found it. I read through the entire book in 2 weeks, I want to say. I mean, I was glued to it. And this really did mark the start of my journey of kind of waking up a bit and understanding what is out there, what is out on the other side of the wall, I suppose. The next photo I look at is on the 14th of January, and this is probably the most significant photo possibly throughout this whole thing. And this is a video of me looking up for whatever reason, but this was basically a video that I took and basically made a TikTok out of it, because I apparently thought that the best method was to take a video on Snapchat and then put it on TikTok and then add text and that kind of thing. But the reason I started making content, and this first ever video, I think this was actually the second video. The first video was me showcasing books that I got for Christmas. I was here's 5 finance books I got, because after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was hooked, and that's all I wanted. And the exact reason why I started making videos, I mean, I saw a TikTok of some random teenager similar age to me. He looked similar to me, and he was basically explaining how he had made money online. And instantly I was oh my god, I'm glued in. What is this? And this was way back at the very start of 2021. So this was before your cheesy entrepreneurs out there on social media now, before your Andrew Tate, before your hustlers and this kind of thing. This was way back. And I saw this video of someone saying this is how I made money. They had a link in their bio where they were I took this course, I learned what the course taught me, and then I basically made money. And I was oh, makes sense. So I did the exact same thing. I went on that link, I bought that course. It was a $7 course, nothing much. But the premise was that it would teach you how to make money online. And the reason I started making content is because the course basically teaches you how to make money online, and then says, hey, if you want to start making money online, you can affiliate for this course. You can basically promote this course link, and then you get a cut for every person that signs up. So the person's video who I watched originally and bought this course through, they got a cut of that, and then I just started doing the same thing. So that TikTok video that I made on the 14th of January, all I wanted was to make money online, and I thought, hey, if all I have to do is post a TikTok video every now and then, I'm gonna do it. The next milestone in my journey was on the 26th of January, and this milestone was again quite significant because this was my first ever commission. This was the reason that I was posting the TikTok videos. As you can see on screen, it was $2.80. That's how much I got as a cut for posting and promoting that business course. And that $2.80 was what kept me going. That was my entire incentive for posting videos and just making content, because I thought, hey, if I can get just one person to do this every couple of days or whatever it is, I'm just going to start making a bit of pocket money. And obviously the idea is to make a lot of money, but that $2.80 was my little hit of dopamine for every time that I got it. I was bam, I'm going to double down on what I'm doing. I think it just highlights the importance of having something to work towards, no matter how small it is, no matter how kind of insignificant it may seem. Because I think in life we're all either getting chased by something or we are chasing something, and in this case this was my chasing something. and I became addicted. I mean, I just wanted more. All I wanted was more of those $2.80 and obviously to build up the commission. And so that's when everything changed for me. That's when I sort of realized that I can make money online, whether it's $2.80 or it's $1,000 that I make later on. That was my push. And from there, I just tried to improve. You know, I started learning about funnels, landing pages, collecting emails, making good content, converting, all this kind of stuff. I went down the rabbit hole of like ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson. If you don't know who he is, he's like a marketer. I started buying more books, as you can see behind me, and I just went down this rabbit hole and literally didn't stop. And thank God I didn't. I mean, on the 16th of February, the photo that you see here was me on a leaderboard. And again, this was another huge milestone for me because this was basically the leaderboard of the affiliates that were promoting this business course. And the funny thing was is that everyone else on this leaderboard were people that I looked up to, because these people were doing the same thing that I was. They were making content, promoting this business course just to a much higher level. So to see my name below their name on like this leaderboard of worldwide people that are making money, it was shocking to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm like slowly working my way up, and I made it. And it was just proof of concept to me that what I was doing was actually working in some sense. And so I took what I was doing and I just 10x the input. You know, I was making 3, 4, 5 TikTok videos a day, like kind of creating content around finance and investing, literally what I was learning from the books, and then pushing this business course. And I just didn't stop. Every single day, waking up at 5 a.m. to do it before school and this kind of stuff. And it was, yeah, it was like the start of my entrepreneurship journey that I look back to now and I just kind of like drool over, right? Because they're like such simple times, but it's fun. The next milestone was on the 2nd of March, and this was just a photo of a camera. This was me recording my first ever YouTube video. You know, it was the start of something new for me. It was scrappy. The camera was out of focus. Like, this was the kind of content that I made. You know, I didn't know what I was talking about, but it was something. The camera that I was using was literally a camera that I just found in a drawer, and I was like, I propped it up. I got my sister's little box light, put that up as well, and I just put on like a nice little polo shirt, and I was like, oh cool, I'll just start making videos. I mean, my first ever video was awful as well. And then we move on to the 12th of March, which is just 10 days later, and this photo that you could see here is actually a video, was my first ever high ticket commission that I got for making content, which is my first ever $1,000 commission. And I remember like literally extremely vividly. I mean, I got this commission in photography class. I remember, as you can see in the video, I was actually shaking out of excitement, because basically what happens is that when someone goes and buys this business course through your link, there's then an option later on in the business course to upsell, right? Buy something more. And the thing that this person could buy was like $2,500 worth. You know, they could buy that and they get like private mentorship. And I got a cut of that if I brought the person in. And this $1,000 was that cut of that. And I remember as soon as I made it, you know, my friend was recording a video. I went into like a social hall. I told a few people about it, which made it seem like what I was actually doing was real. You know, as far as they were aware, I was just a cringy TikTok boy who just kept making TikTok videos for no actually apparent reason. But when I went in and I could show my phone and say, hey, here's $1,000 commission that I just got, I wasn't bragging. It was more just like showing to my close friends. That made it all real for me. And I remember, you know, when I got it, I was deciding how I was going to spend the money. You know, I was looking at it $1,000 and I was like, cool, I'll probably put $700 away and invest it. I'll probably like use $300 on myself, you know, take my girlfriend out for a nice meal and this kind of stuff. And that was like fucking huge for me. Now, the next photo that I see here is actually a screenshot of me signing up to a property investment bootcamp. Because at the time I was addicted. I got hooked on trying to find as many ways as possible to make money. I was looking at every method possible, all the business models, the side hustles, the e-commerce, dropshipping, Amazon FBA, all this kind of stuff. And property stood out to me because I looked at people that had been there and done it and obviously were millionaires. And a lot of them made their money through property. And so I thought this will be the path for me. And so I did all my research. I watched as many videos as I possibly could on people that were teaching property investing and this kind of stuff and how to get into it at a very early age. The likes of people like Samuel Leeds and stuff like this. And I thought that was going to be the path. I thought that was going to be the thing that made me the majority of my money. In fact, I even have a book that I took all my notes in. This was the book here that I took all my notes in when it came to like property research. I've got HMOs, I've got buying HMOs with zero money down. I got flipping houses, bridging loans, how to calculate ROI, flipping houses tips, like look at this stuff. Because this was my life for like 3 or 4 months. This was all I would research. You know, I've got wholesaling, option agreement, property deal sourcing, and I've got all the notes as well that I took from the crash course that I ended up joining and signing up to. And it's like, I didn't care what vehicle took me to my end goal. I didn't care what made me all my money. All I cared is that I had a vehicle that could make me as much money as possible. And I thought property was going to be the one. So then the 29th of June rolls around, and this photo here that you can see I have on a suit and a tie. And this was because I was walking around to all of the estate estate agents in my area, basically trying to get a job in real estate. Because the affiliate marketing stuff wasn't sustainable. It wasn't something that was going to make me money, and it wasn't going to teach me the skills that I needed, but property was. I didn't go and want to work in estate agents to make a bunch of money. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to acquire as many skills as possible. I kind of prioritized learning over earning. And so in my head, I thought I'll go and work in estate agents, which is in the UK, basically a property, I think is a real estate broker in the US. And I thought, I don't care about the money that I make. I'm going to learn underneath someone's wing and climb the ladder to the very, very top. And so that's what I did. I printed out all my CVs. I walked around all the estate agents in my area, and there was quite a lot of them, and handed in my CV saying, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. Here's my CV. And I remember I handed in about 10, possibly 15 CVs. I heard back from about 3 or 4 of them. I had an interview with 2 of them, and I got an offer from one of them, which I went to the interview. I was all hyped, all excited, but I ended up turning the job offer down because although I wasn't prioritizing the money was pretty poor. It was pretty bad for what I thought I'd get in return, and it just took me a minute to kind of like ask myself what I thought my worth was. Now, I didn't have many skills at the time, so I didn't consider myself having a high worth, but I thought, is my worth more than £1,000 a month for working something like 45 hours a week? Is my worth more than that? And I had to kind of make the hard decision and go against my own word of, wanting to gain the skills and stuff like that, because I realized that I'd made a decent amount of money online at this point. I'd made like 3 or 4 grand online for affiliate marketing and small brand deals and that kind of stuff with no skills, no expertise. And I thought, if I could do that with absolutely nothing, imagine the stuff I can teach myself, imagine the stuff I can learn off my own back, and imagine the money I can make from that. And so that's what I did, which moves me on to the 21st of July. And this that you see right here is the logo for my new company that I started. My idea was to take the skills that I had, the very few skills that I had, which was social media, since I was creating content online already at this point. I thought, why don't I help other people grow their social media? I've grown mine at this point to about 50,000 followers. I can help other people do the same, people that need to grow their socials more than me. So that was my idea. I was going to manage companies' social media. So again, I put on my suit and tie. I went to a bunch of restaurants in my area, walked into the front door of the restaurant with my social media package, this one here, and basically offered them my services. Like the most awkward thing that you can imagine. I would walk into like the front desk or the bar or whatever it is and say, can I speak to your manager? Like grab a table by the side and say, here's my social media package, here's how I'm going to change the game for you. And I remember lockdown was on and off at this point, so one day I could walk into a restaurant, the next day I couldn't, and I had to try and cold call them, which was a whole nother game on itself. But I did that, and I got a few clients managing the social media of these restaurants, these kind of hotels and this kind of stuff, and that was what my first gig was. That was my first proper business that lasted about 3 or 4 months, and at this point it was doing quite well. I started off with restaurants in my area, and then as I kind of exhausted all of the restaurants in my area, I then moved to online. I signed up to platforms such as Upwork, like posted my skills on there, and got a few clients on there as well. So at this point I had like 3 or 4, 5 clients maybe, each paying me money to run and manage and grow their social media. And at this point, bearing in mind I was 17, 18, I was making like 5 grand a month, from 0 to 5 grand like that, straight off the back of turning down this property job because I started my own thing, and it worked really, really well for about 3 months. And I couldn't tell you honestly, after about 3 months it all just kind of died down. I guess it was because I wasn't the best at the skills. I didn't exactly know what I was doing. I just thought I had a good idea, and maybe because my service offering wasn't good enough, I don't know, which meant that I was kind of at ground zero again. I told my family and friends, I'm making a bit of money now, I'm doing this is my own thing, and then to go back to zero is quite heartbreaking, but it just gave me the motivation that I can do it. And the next memory that I have is this picture that you can see here, which is an affiliate commission I got through my socials at this time, and this was like kind of a one-off thing, but again it just gave me more proof of concept that this social media thing can work. And this was at the time when I was kind of transitioning businesses and deciding what I wanted to do, and it just kind of again reinforced that proof that hey, you can make money through social media, which was cool. And the next photo is from the 28th of January, and this is a picture of me buying my first ever laptop, because before this I was doing my work from like an old 2013 iMac, which was barely surviving at the time, but this was just me eating some of the fruits of my labor. And this was also the point where I started a new business. This business was SMMA, like nothing special. I got hooked into the people making money online, teaching other people how to do it too, the likes of Eman Gadsby and stuff like that, and thought, hey, if he can make a bunch of money off SMMA, why can't I do the same thing? And so I spent about 4 months of my life trying to do this, trying to work with SMMA, running Facebook ads for companies and this kind of thing. And to be honest, it just didn't work. Like, I know I wasn't good at the skill, so I'm going to blame it on that, but it's also because of the fact that it's not a skill, it's a business. But it's also because of the fact that it isn't a skill at all. It's just a collection of skills merged together with a label slapped on top of them, which I had no business trying to sell because I didn't have the skills in the first place. But move on to the 4th of April. This is when I actually signed my first client with my brand new business model, because I pivoted away from SMMA, and I've been trying SMMA for ages at this point, and I realized that it wasn't working. But to my luck, I was in contact with a founder of a company that I did a brand deal for, basically doing a bit of consulting here and there on how to grow on social media, because I thought, hey, I could just give some value out, see what comes in return. And in return, he did give me some advice on business and how it worked in this kind of stuff. And I remember I got to the point where I was on a call with him, just giving him some help, and he was kind of giving me some advice. And I said to him, what do you want? Like, what is a problem that you have that you believe that, knowing my skill set, I can solve? And bearing in mind, I was promoting his product on my page at the time because he was paying me money for it. And I said, what problem can I solve, like, for you? What can I help you with? And he quite literally said, I need more of you. He said he needed more influencers, like a network of influencers that he could snap his fingers and then push his product through out into the market. And I thought, that makes complete sense. I have the skill of being an influencer. I have the skill of social media. I know how to manage things. I've managed people's social media before. Why don't I just do influencer marketing? And so that's what I did. I created a new twist on influencer marketing where it was like extremely efficient and effective for companies. And that's the new business that I started. And this picture here is the first client that I got with this new business model. This was like a bit of an eye-opener for me, because this was the first time in my life where I didn't just copy it off someone else. I didn't see Iman Gadzhi doing well with SMMA, buy his course and do what he was doing. I started my own thing, using my own skills, my own expertise, my own knowledge, very limited amount of it, and thought, why don't I just find a problem and solve that problem? And that's what I did, and that's how I made a good bit of money. And that was doing well. I remember within the first couple of weeks of starting that business, I got a few clients, and then on the 21st of April, I bought my first car. And don't get me wrong, this was a shitty car. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, went and bought it, didn't do any like inspection or research or anything, and then brought it home, took it to the garage. The garage said it was rotting underneath and it was like falling apart. But hey, I bought my first car with my own money, and that was quite a milestone for me, even though it was like 3.5 grand, something like that. And then we move all the way to the 1st of August. And between that time, April to August, I was just trying to run my business. I was trying to grow my influencer marketing agency, my SMIP agency, social media influencer pooling. I know, quite a mouthful. And that's all I was doing. I was just growing that. And start of August, I actually started talking about the business that I was running. I made a whole separate new TikTok account, and I just started talking about the business model that I was using and how it was quite unique. Like not many people were doing it before the way that I was doing it, and how it worked and how brands wanted it and they liked it, and how I got a few clients from it. And when I was talking about this, I had no intention of like teaching other people how to do it. I just thought, hey, Iman Gadzhi is the founder of, not founder, but like the leader of SMMA. Why can't I be the leader of SMIP, social media influencer pooling? Why can't I be the person that talks about that? And so I started doing it. Like I said, I had no intention of selling anything. It was just one of those moments where I thought, what do I have to lose? You know, I can create a new TikTok account. I could talk about this. Maybe no one cares, and therefore I stopped posting on a TikTok account. And I thought, give it a try. And then that started to blow up. Like the stuff I was talking about blew up, like to the point where I started having copycats. People started posting on TikTok as well, saying that they made up SMIP, social media influencer pooling. And I was like, I literally came up with this in my head. Like, it's a shit name for a business. It's not one to boast about. And it really did blow up quite a lot. You know, I got an incredible amount of demand from the people that were watching my videos, wanting to learn more, wanting to learn how I did it and this kind of stuff. And I had no intention, like I said, of creating a course. I just wanted to just spread awareness around it. But I thought, I can't miss out on this opportunity. I can't not capitalize on this opportunity. And so I decided I would start creating a Discord around it. And then we moved to the start of August, where I actually launched my social media influencer pooling coaching academy. And I actually made £10,000 in 16 days. Like, I launched a Discord and made that money. I built up the hype, built up the understanding, just did nothing but provided value to the people watching my videos, literally teaching people how to do it step by step. Launched this Discord in case people wanted it. And yeah, made 10K in 16 days, which was probably the best decision that I'd made, not even for the money, but also it helped me understand the business better. You know, I was teaching the business model to people now, and therefore I was learning it better myself. And this was my first proper taste of like quick money, you know, and how powerful an audience really is. I'd never made this much money in this short amount of time. You know, it was incredible. And, you know, I got hooked. I felt emotions that I'd never felt before. I felt like excitement and confusion, and like £10,000 is what people make in, I don't know, quarter, half of a year. And I made that in 16 days. Like, it was pretty incredible. And in September of 2022, I scaled this. You know, I started making more content. I started making a YouTube channel about it. I tried to make the product better itself, and I just did what I was doing, but better and more of it, which meant that in turn, my coaching scaled. You know, the Discord grew to like an incredible amount of members and users, and obviously incredible amount of money too. And then we move on to the next milestone, which is November the 6th. And this is a video of me actually just turning off my PC. And the significance about this is that this is quite an emotional moment for me, because this is me packing up everything in my room at my mum's house. I had to get rid of everything, or like not everything, but I had to get rid of my bearded dragon, Alan. I had to pack everything up. And then November the 12th is when I moved out of my hometown, out of my home city, halfway across the country into Manchester, into my apartment. And yeah, it was quite cool. I mean, I was paying like rent a year up front on a whim in a place I'd never been to before. And this is where I really started my life. This is where everything changed. I moved out of my girlfriend, was living the city life, was making at this point like a good amount of money. I want to say like 15K a month. And it was, you know, the life. And then December, that's when I hit my first £20,000 month. And this was like a mix of my agency and my coaching program. It's actually closer to like £30,000 a month, because I got payments from other places, which is surreal to look at. And this is when I felt like I'd probably made it. You know, I was looking at that amount of money a month, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But little did I know, the hard work had only just begun. February 2023, the start of February, this photo here or video is a video of me out in Lisbon. Basically, I went out to Lisbon with another entrepreneur, someone that I'd never met before, to network and explore and experience and grow as a person, which I did, which was a huge step for me, considering that, you know, 4 months prior, I was in my bedroom at my parents' house, but now I was out in Lisbon meeting an entrepreneur, traveling with him, and meeting other people out there. February 2023 is also when I launched the Kaizen. I wanted to build a brand that could outlive me, something that would grow on its own exponentially, that I could build a movement alongside, and I came up with the idea of the Kaizen. Initially, all I wanted it to be was just a free daily email newsletter that helped people grow their mind, body, and wallet, just purely that, to kind of like dismantle all the BS information out there on the internet. And so that's what I did. I built a newsletter around it, and I posted on that newsletter every single day. I wrote for that newsletter every single day, and so far we're a year and a couple months in, and I'm still doing it. And it's exciting for me because I was stepping into new territories that I'd never stepped into before, so I actually had no idea what I was doing, but it was like a new spark of a passion of a business. And you know, I don't like to say it, but the influencer pooling stuff was kind of drying out for me a bit, not because it wasn't working for me, it was still working, but I felt no passion about it. It wasn't something that I was excited to wake up to every morning. It wasn't a business model that I was excited about. It was kind of draining, and so I wanted to start something that I could, you know, that could outlive me, number one, but I could scale exponentially, and I came up with the Kaizen. And then we move on to the 20th of April, and this photo that you can see here is when I bought my dream car. And it's actually quite a funny story, like it's quite a surreal story. I remember one day I was just sitting in my apartment with my girlfriend, and I had a look on Auto Trader, like the car marketplace for different cars. A Mustang came up, and I thought, oh, imagine if I got a Mustang, right? And then I really thought about it, and I thought, why don't I get a Mustang? You know, if I can afford this car 3 times over, if I had the money, cash in the bank right now to afford this car 3 times over, why don't I? And I did. So I bought it. It was a stupidly quick decision that actually I don't regret at all. So maybe it wasn't stupid. You know, it was a whole thing when I went into the dealership. No one believed that I wanted to buy a Mustang, and then I kind of like sold myself a bit better. But yeah, it was a very, very cool feeling. This was my dream car since watching, you know, Fast and Furious back in the day, and watching like all the old Fords and stuff like that. I always wanted a Mustang, and then I bought one. September the 23rd, quite a good few months later, was when I went on a driving trip around the Pyrenees. You know, just a bit of kind of context about this. Ever since I was young, my dad would go away every single year on the same time every single year, which was on my birthday, unfortunately, and go on driving trips with his friends around like France, Spain, Italy, this kind of thing, because he was into cars as well. And this year, September the 23rd, I was able to go with him because I had a nice car and I could, like, you know, take time. I was in control of my own life. I could decide when I didn't want to work, when I wanted to work, which was quite a surreal feeling because I could join him on his driving trip, which is very cool to think about. And the last photo that I actually have on Snapchat, the last memory that I have, which is heartbreaking, is November 8th, where I actually crashed my dream car. I crashed a Mustang. Long story short, slippery roads, oil on the roads, went round, like lost control. No one was hurt, no one was injured or anything, but yeah, that was heartbreaking. And like I said, I don't use Snapchat anymore because that's the last memory that I have, but that is the story of how I made my first $300,000 online. If you watch this far, I know you're just thinking in your head, so it was the coaching and the agency. Yes, it was. That is the thing that made me the majority of my money, but all the small steps before, all the little failures before is what built up to that point. And that's why it's kind of important to understand the story, because I don't want you to be my 17-year-old self and go, I'm going to start an agency, I'm going to start coaching on that agency. That's not what got me to this point. It was like the overnight success over almost 4 years, or 3 and a bit years. And all those little failures beforehand, that is what got me to this point now. And now I'm just continuously evolving. I'm continuously changing, coming up with new ideas, new concepts, new methods of making money, and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving my life because I'm living the life that I want to live. And it's exciting because my next milestone will be $1 million, and I aim to hit that way before the age of 25, possibly even 23, hopefully before 23, which is exciting. And an even more exciting thing is that I know exactly how I'm going to do it for a platform called Kaizen Connected. Now, Kaizen Connected is something that I've been working on for the past 6-7 months, and it is going to change the game. It is the ultimate hub for young, ambitious minds, people that want to improve their mind, improve their body, and grow their wallet, however you want to say it. It is the place for that. And I couldn't be more excited about it. I mean, by the time you're watching this video, whether it's after the 30th of April or before the 30th of April, if it's before, it's not live yet. If it's after, it is live, and you can go check it out. But I couldn't be more excited about it. It is everything, my entire journey, my entire understanding of improving your life, growing in that trifecta of improving your health, improving your wealth, improving your mindset, you know, the trifecta of living the best life that you possibly can. This is the place for that. And I designed it and I built it because I truly believe that if you can master wealth, then you can live a life of freedom, abundance, and luxury. If you can master health, then you can live a life of longevity, flexibility, and comfort. And if you can master your mindset, then you can live a life of happiness, contentment, fulfillment, and just utter peace of mind. And I thought, why not create a community, a space, a hub of education, value, and resources that encapsulates that message? It's a hub with the sole purpose to help you grow your health, wealth, and mindset. And that's what Kaizen Connected is. With each branch, health, wealth, and mindset, being taught by a different professional. I'm teaching the wealth side of things because I made 300k by the time I turned 20. We've got a guy called Will Scott who's teaching the health side of things that, let's just say, looks like a Greek god, and a guy called Lou Pacheco who has the most bulletproof mindset that I've ever heard and knows the answer to everything. And you know, this is a platform for young, ambitious minds. If you're watching this video, if you're still here watching this video, this is probably a platform for you. And like I said, if you're watching this before the 30th of April, then you could sign up to the waitlist below. If it's after the 30th of April, then it's live. Like, go check it out. I really do urge you to if you've watched this far. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I know it will help your life. Like, I know how incredible it is because it's got everything within me has been put into this, building this. And therefore I know it's going to change a lot of lives. And so I'll finish off there. Thank you for watching this extremely long video and listening to my journey. Hopefully you've got some insight from this video, not necessarily about the vehicles that I used to get to my end goal, but the trials and tribulations that took me there to get there. And it wasn't, you know, I started this thing and I got so lucky and it was e-commerce and I made 300k in a month from e-commerce or dropshipping. It wasn't that. It was trials and tribulations. I took my own skills, my own expertise, solved the problem with them, and then made a shit ton of money along the way. And that is what, you know, that's what I'm going to continue to do to a higher standard. And that's what I'd recommend you do as well if you're in the same position as me. Thank you so much. Go check out Kaizen Connected and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.